Hi everyone, welcome to Evermore Creative Art Studio. I'm Lauren and today it's Boxing Day in May. So I'm going to be making a couple of book stands out of a single box, and best place for me to find sturdy boxes of a fairly decent size is at my local liquor store. So I just ran in and they have them piled up at the door, so you don't even have to ask, you can just go grab one. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do, and I'm hoping that out of this one nice sizable box, I can get two bookcases. Is that what we call them? Bookcases, book holders. So diagonally anyway, it is, I'm going to say 13 inches because that's 12 there. So you can even see it there. I'm out of camera. So it's about 13 inches that way. And it is 9.5, 9 3/4 vertically. And from edge to edge is 8 3/4. So it's a little narrower, a little bit taller, and I'm hoping that that is a good size angle to accommodate or to support a larger book. And I'm hoping that because it is a sturdier box that I can get two out of here. So first thing I want to do is seal up my ends. I want those to be well attached to each other because that's going to be the bottom of my bookend. So I'm going to use a good glue that works fast and seals tough, and that's my Fabric-Tac. Yeah, I know it's a bit more expensive than a glue gun or something, but I didn't have my glue gun. So, and this is an old bottle, so I don't mind using it up here. So I'm going to add a strip of tape just to the seams on either end. Probably not necessary, but it's just a little extra reinforcement. And now I'm going to use my straight edge and my knife, and I'm going to score diagonally on the box and make my first cut. And I have to make sure my second cut is going to go in the same direction, or I will have not a bookend. So if you try this, just make sure that your second cut follows the same direction as your first cut. And also too, with scoring, a few or several less forceful draws with your knife will cut it much more evenly and safely than trying to hack through it at one go. So there's both of the bookends. And I'm just going to cut the little extra bits off. I'm also going to fill those gaps just so that there'll be an even finish when I get done. I'm going to cover them in book pages. But I just don't want that kind of crevice there. So I'm just going to cut strips to loosely measured or sized up to those little patches there, and I'm just going to glue those down. So I'm lining the edge of the cardboard up with one of the straight lines on my cutting mat, and then I'm lining the ruler up with the lines on either end of it, and that ensures I'll get a straight line when I cut, and it saves having to measure. As long as one edge one straight edge of your piece is lined up with one of the straight edges on the cutting mat, you'll get a nice straight cut and fairly even all the way down. Now I'm taking masking tape and I'm just going to put it over top of the open pieces of cardboard where you can see the corrugation. It'll just give it a solid something for the glue to adhere to and the paper to wrap around. It just makes a nicer finish at the end. Again, probably not necessary, but it does look nice, and it's done. I'm not going to worry about the bottom. But I'm going to cut that little extra piece off there too, because it's just uneven. It looks like makes a little step, and yeah, it can go. So I'll wrap that with some masking tape as well. And I think I put some on the seams, on the base there, yes, just to prevent the creases from popping through. I don't know, it's preventative more than anything. Now I get my glue out. Oh, my cup, my bottle of, it's just plain old white glue. I thought I would try it. Kitten wants some. And I'm going to mix it a 2 to 1, so 2 parts glue to 1 part water. And I'm going to do it a really slow way and try and get the water in with my paintbrush. Yeah, not really efficient, but you know, in the end it works out, so that's okay. Do what you have to. I'm just going to use old book pages for this. They came out of a book that I took the illustrations out of, and they're not good for much else. See how brittle they are? Yeah, I tried making ephemera out of them and they just ripped, tore, and fell apart. But they're nice heavy paper and they have nice interesting colorations on them, so I'm going to use them to reinforce some of the things that I make, like these bookends. So nothing goes to waste. Nothing goes to waste ever. I find it easiest to get into the corners and creases if I make a fold in my paper first before I lay it down. And I'm just going to carry on gluing this, so I'm going to speed it up. And yeah, you can jump ahead to 2014-25 if you want to miss all this. Alright, so it's thoroughly dry inside and out, and I'm ready for the next part. I've decided I'm going to use a stencil and modeling paste to get a three-dimensional look. So this is Artist Loft modeling paste from Michaels. I've never used it before, but I actually quite like it now that I'm done this project. I'm glad I have it. So I've picked a flourish of a stencil just for no other reason than I just really like it. I have a spatula that I like to use, but if you don't have one, you could always use a key card or a gift card. And oh yes, gotta have the baby wipes for cleanup. Best tool ever. So I'm not going to do the backs or anything or the inside. I'm going to just do the sides. That's the only part that's really going to be visible. It's nice and creamy. It's like icing. So I just put it on. I don't take a whole lot of care when I do. I like to have variations in the thickness. A little unevenness is really nice. I think it adds to the texture a lot. Like when this is done, it's going to look like an old piece of concrete or an ancient carving that has just been time worn. So I don't want it to be perfect. I want little anomalies. I want like here I'm going to spread some extra modeling paste just on the edges and clean off my stencil to do it, and you'll see when it's all done that ends up looking just like plaster. It looks just like plaster and it's so pretty. And clean it up before it dries, but it's really not an issue either because it does sand. It sands off quite nicely. And with something like this, you can always pick it off too. If you have to do a little repair job, it's just glue and paper. So I'm going to clean this side up. I have to wait for this side now to be completely dry before I can do the other side, or else I will flatten it and it will be all for naught. So I'll just do a little quick tidy up and come back later when it's dry. And it is dry. It's cool to the touch, I think, but it's dry enough that I can go ahead and apply the modeling paste to the other side. I'm going to flip my stencil over so that it is going to go in the opposite direction on the other side. It's not necessarily something you'd have to do, it's just something that I chose to do. And again, I'm not being too particular about how I put this on. There. Just like that. Just gonna take the little edges off. Like I said, it sands, so if you have rough edges on yours after and you wanted to, clean them up, tidy them up a little bit, just get out a little emery board or little fine grit sandpaper, and that'll do the trick really nicely. So there's side 2 done. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to clean off my stencil a little bit. I still have to wash it, but I'm going to get the extra modeling paste off of it and make it look like plaster. It's actually really fun to work with. I really enjoy it. I haven't done it in quite a while. I think I might have to do some more. Just wait and see how this turns out first, though, before I go make big plans. And there, it's all done. Now it just has to dry. And this also has to dry thoroughly before I can go to the next step. Completely covered up. I like the look of the text and the yellowed paper and the edges, but I do want to give it a little more continuity and sort of seal up that modeling paste there. And I also want a nice base because I'm going to use these new sprays. They're from Lindy's Gang and they're Moon Shadow Mist. They are so beautiful. They're like an iridescent dye. They come in a powder form, and I just added water to them. I have to let them sit 10 minutes and then shake the bejeebies out of them. So I've never used them before. I just got them not too long ago, so this will be an experiment for me to see what they do. But they're so beautiful, so I hope I can do them justice. Yeah, like I said before, I don't want to get rid of all the characteristics of the old paper, but I do want to cover it up a bit. So I'm just going to use a cheap dollar store acrylic paint, a matte finish, in white. I'm just going to water it down a little bit as I go and sort of model it on. I don't want a solid coat, so. See, there was that little piece didn't miss the glue, but it's okay. I just tore it off and carried on. So I'm going to use a baby wipe and lift some of that white paint. It was just too bright for me, so that looks better. I like that better. So the next little bit of this video is just me painting on and dabbing off. It's like wax on, wax off. And on the sides I'm going to dab some of that paint off as well so that you can see the book pages in between the modeling paste flourishes. I think it's a really pretty effect. So now I think I'm just about ready to start playing around with these mist sprays. They're gorgeous colors. I think that was a Buccaneer Bay Blue. There's little bits of gold in it too. It's gorgeous. This one is Gossamer Gold and Long John Silver. And what's the other one? Moody Mulberry. And then the last one's my favorite. That's the turquoise, tawny turquoise. And they all have a brownness to them. The iridescence is deeper in. I can't even explain it. It's like, it's multi-layered. These things are so cool. So I started with the Long John Silver, and I was a little surprised at how dark it was when I put it on. I wasn't expecting that. But I can see as it dries that it lightens a bit and the iridescence shows through. It's not quite the color that I wanted, but I'm just going to play around a little bit and see what happens. So it's just playing around with these sprays and adding water to them and just tipping the box back and forth and around and just letting them kind of go where they will and cross paths and doing a little blotting and then pushing them around with the heat gun. Just seeing what they're going to do. Like I said, I have no idea. Never used these before, so I'm just playing and learning. Done the back. Always a good idea to start with the back of something first. I feel a little bit more confident. I can kind of go forward and see what happens when I apply it to the stenciled area with the raised modeling paste. So I'm going to do it the same way that I did on the back. I'm going to spray it on and do a little blotting and a little squirting of water and a little letting it run around and go where it will, and just playing with it until I find something that I like and, you know, just enjoying the process. I just can't get enough of this shimmer. I wish it showed up better through the camera lens, maybe with better lighting. I don't know, but it's so pretty. Well, on to the other side now. So far I'm really pleased with this. I like how it looks. I like how it just looks like old plaster. I think that's really suitable to books that are going to be probably mostly antiquated when they go in there. But what a nice effect. You know, try and make sure both my sides are close to the same in tonality. But you know, you can't see both sides at the same time, so if they're a little bit off, I'm not going to get bent out of shape about it. So now I'm going to do the inside, and I'm going to do the same that I've done up until now. I'm just going to spray it and blot it and add some water and let it run around, let all the colors play together, and call her a day. So other than putting a sealant on it, I'm going to call this finished. I love the back even too. It reminds me of when the cement or the concrete on the back of an old building starts to crack and chip away. Yeah, it's just got so much patina to it, and that shimmer is just gorgeous. I really, really like that. I'm excited to try these products on some other project. I might make a journal cover with them. Oh, wouldn't that be pretty? So, well, that is my bookend project. That is my Boxing Day in May project. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you for showing up and lending your support. I love it when you make one of my projects. I get really excited about that. That is so much fun. So if you do, please post it with the hashtag Boxing Day Forevermore so I can find you and see what you made. So thank you so much for coming out, and we'll see you next time. Now go get creative. Bye-bye.